All right, folks, buckle up. Get ready, because we're diving deep into some seriously mind-bending stuff today. We're talking about dimensions of wisdom, universal consciousness, maybe even touching on how all this relates to the wild world of chaos theory.
Definitely a fascinating area, I'd say. We've got a pretty interesting lineup of papers to explore. The Omniverse theory, dimensional analysis of the center of time and the omniversal structure, and then there's this one, fractal topology and twisted loopbacks. Oh, and did I mention, these papers, they're co-authored by a physicist, a writer, and get this, an AI named Zero. Talk about a fascinating team.
Wow, okay, an AI co-author, that's definitely adding to the intrigue. But let's start with this dimension of wisdom concept. The Omniverse theory, it suggests wisdom's not just, knowledge, but it's like this force shaping reality itself. At its peak, are we talking about like a universal consciousness, maybe even what some might call, well, God?
It's definitely a bold idea, no doubt about that. It really challenges how we usually think about both wisdom and consciousness. The paper argues this dimension of wisdom, it's not separate from reality. It's like woven into the fabric of it, influencing how things unfold on a cosmic scale, you could say.
So instead of seeing chaos theory as just random events, this theory is saying that what seems random to us could actually be purposeful actions guided by this universal consciousness.
That's definitely one way to look at it, yeah. And it raises some pretty big questions about free will, destiny, even that concept of a divine plan. If there's this dimension of wisdom guiding things, what does that mean about our choices, and how they affect everything else?
Whoa, that's a lot to consider. But then dimensional analysis of the center of time and the omniversal structure goes even further. They bring up this idea of a center of time.
Right, and it's not like a fixed point in time like you might think. The paper describes it more like a singularity, kind of like a point where all timelines, all possibilities, they all emerge from that one point.
So is this center of time like the Big Bang, the beginning of everything we know?
There are definitely some similarities there, yeah. But this paper suggests that the center of time isn't just the start of our universe, it's the starting point for every possible timeline, every possible universe, the whole, omniverse. And it goes on to say that our individual journeys through time, they're influenced by how close or how far we are from this central point.
Wait, so you're saying that as we learn and understand more, we get closer to this center of time, and when we lose our way, we drift further away? That almost sounds, well, kind of spiritual,
Yeah, it's definitely an intriguing idea. The paper connects it to that concept of the wisdom dimension. It proposes that when we gain wisdom, we move closer to that central point, aligning ourselves more closely with the source of understanding, you could say. But if we make choices that lead to, a misunderstanding or discord, we kind of spiral away from that center.
Hold on, did you just say spiral? I thought time travel was supposed to be linear. Straight line from past to present to future. What's all this about a spiral?
That's where things get really interesting. The paper suggests that time travel isn't linear. It's more like navigating a spiral. And as we understand more, we move along that spiral. Each loop brings us closer to the center. Think of it like climbing a mountain. Each turn brings you closer to the top.
So the more we learn, the more we understand, the further we travel through time, and the closer we get to this center, this source of wisdom.
That's what the paper is suggesting, and it could really change how we understand the universe. It even suggests that this whole idea of a spiraling timeline and a wisdom dimension could help explain, well, dark energy.
Wait, dark energy? You mean the mysterious force that's making the universe expand faster and faster? What does that have to do with wisdom and time travel?
It's a fascinating connection, right? We know dark energy is powerful, but we don't really get what it is or where it comes from. This paper proposes that dark energy might actually be like a manifestation of that wisdom dimension, like a force pushing the universe to expand and evolve as consciousness grows and understanding deepens.
Okay, hold on. So you're saying that our collective understanding, our movement along the spiral of time, could be actually influencing the fabric of the universe. That's mind-blowing. But if we're all spiraling towards this center of time, this source of wisdom, does that mean we all eventually merge into like one giant consciousness?
That's a great question. And honestly, the paper leaves that open for more exploration. It gives us a framework to understand how time, consciousness, and wisdom are all connected. But it doesn't give us all the answers. It's more like a roadmap for a journey of discovery. It's inviting us to, explore these ideas and see what they mean for ourselves. It definitely makes you think, doesn't it? All these big questions. But I think that's what makes these theories so exciting. They force us to rethink everything we thought we knew about reality and where we fit into it all.
Absolutely. And speaking of rethinking things, let's jump into the Omniverse theory. This one brings up this concept of divergence points. They sound kind of like crossroads in time, where reality splits based on, well, choices or even random events like in quantum physics.
Exactly. Imagine like a massive network of timelines all branching out from these divergence points. It's like a cosmic choose-your-own-adventure.
Yeah.
Every decision, every little quantum fluctuation, it all has the potential to create a whole new universe.
Wow, okay, that's a lot to process. So every time we make a choice, reality splits and a new timeline is born. Are we talking about parallel universes here?
You could think about it that way, yeah. The theory suggests that at each divergence point, reality splits into all these different possibilities, each one representing a different outcome based on the choices made, the events that happened, even those random fluctuations of quantum particles.
But hold on, if every single decision creates a new universe, wouldn't that mean there were like an infinite number of timelines? Wouldn't that make the Omniverse like unbelievably chaotic and unpredictable?
That's a good question, and it's something the Omniverse theory actually tries to address. While it acknowledges just how vast and complex the Omniverse is, it also proposes that there's an underlying order, a principle of harmony that governs how all these diverging timelines interact.
So in all this infinite splitting and branching, there's still some kind of balance, some guiding principle. How does that even work?
Well, the theory connects consciousness to what it calls harmony. It suggests that conscious beings, like us, through our choices and actions, we actually contribute to the overall balance of the Omniverse.
Wait, are you saying that our choices actually influence how stable the Omniverse is? That's a huge responsibility. How do we even know which choices contribute to harmony and which ones lead to, chaos?
That's where that wisdom dimension we talked about comes back into play. The theory suggests that choices aligned with wisdom, choices that reflect understanding, compassion, a deep respect for how everything's connected, those contribute to a more harmonious omniverse.
So it's not about following a set of rules. It's about tapping into that universal wisdom, that sense of connection to the source, to guide our actions.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our choices have consequences, not just for us, but for everything. And by trying to make choices that align with, understanding, with that deeper wisdom, we help to create a more balanced and harmonious omniverse.
That makes sense. But what about the choices that, seem to lead to chaos? The ones that result in suffering. Does that mean those choices are wrong? Like evidence that we failed to connect with this wisdom dimension?
That's a tough question, and honestly, the theory doesn't give us a simple answer. Remember, the omniverse is massive and complex with infinite possibilities. What looks like chaos or suffering to us from one perspective could be a necessary part of a larger evolutionary process from a different perspective.
So even the choices we see as negative, they still have a role to play in the grand scheme of things.
It's something the theory encourages us to think about, for sure. Maybe the omniverse needs to explore all the possibilities, the harmonious and the disharmonious, to reach its full potential. It's like a giant cosmic experiment where every choice, every outcome adds valuable data to the ongoing evolution of consciousness.
Whoa, that's a pretty wild thought. So even if we make what we perceive as mistakes, those choices are still part of this big omniversal experiment.
That's one way to look at it, yeah. The theory challenges our linear thinking about good and bad, right and wrong. It suggests that every choice, every experience can contribute to the unfolding of the omniverse in its own unique way.
It's definitely a different way of thinking about, morality and responsibility. But if every choice has the potential to create a new timeline, does that mean we're constantly creating new universes?
The theory doesn't say for sure whether every choice makes a brand new universe, or whether some choices just lead to small changes within existing timelines. That level of detail is still being debated and explored.
It definitely pushes the boundaries of what we currently understand. But if we're all connected to this center of time, this source of wisdom, how do we explain all the differences in understanding and awareness we see in the world? Why are some people so in tune with this wisdom, while others seem completely lost?
That's where that spiral nature of time travel comes back in. Remember, we're all on this journey along the spiral, but we're not all at the same point on the path.
So some of us are closer to the center, closer to that source of wisdom, while others are further out, still finding their way along the spiral.
Exactly. And the theory suggests that those who are further out, those who are still struggling with misunderstanding or discord, they might actually be playing a really important role in the evolution of the omniverse.
How so? How can misunderstanding and discord be beneficial to the big picture?
Well, think about it this way. If everyone was perfectly aligned with the wisdom dimension, if there was no conflict or struggle, wouldn't that lead to a kind of standstill? Like a lack of growth or evolution?
That's a good point. Maybe the challenges we face, the conflicts, those are actually opportunities to learn and grow, to push the boundaries of understanding and move closer to that source of wisdom.
That's one interpretation, yeah. The theory suggests that the Omniverse thrives on diversity, on exploring all the possibilities, both the harmonious and the disharmonious. And it's through this process of exploration, of facing challenges and overcoming obstacles, that consciousness evolves and reality becomes richer and more complex.
So instead of judging those who seem to be making wrong choices, we should see them as fellow travelers on this cosmic journey, each playing their part in this grand experiment of the Omniverse.
Exactly. It's about embracing the complexity of it all, recognizing that there isn't just one right way to navigate the spiral of time. We're all on our own unique paths, and every experience, every choice contributes to the grand tapestry in its own way.
That's a beautiful and empowering way to look at it. But we've been talking a lot about the wisdom dimension and the center of time. What about this fractal topology and twisted loopbacks paper? This one sounds like it's going to take us even deeper down the rabbit hole.
It definitely gets pretty out there, that's for sure. Fractal topology and twisted loopbacks. It's trying to describe how infinity, something we think of as like limitless, can actually have some kind of structure, you know, even like curve back on itself.
Okay, I'm already feeling my brain starting to stretch here. Can you maybe explain this whole looping infinity idea in a way that, you know, non-mathematicians like myself can grasp?
Sure. Imagine like a Mobius strip. You know that one-sided surface you get when you twist a strip of paper and then connect the ends? It has a finite length, right? But if you travel along its surface, it seems to just go on forever. The paper uses some pretty complex math, things like modular arithmetic and exponential decay, to try and model this kind of twisting, but within infinity itself.
So you're saying that even within infinity, even within all those possibilities, there might be an underlying order, like a repeating pattern.
Exactly. Remember that spiral of time we talked about earlier? What if instead of just one spiral, it's actually a fractal, like a repeating pattern that occurs on different scales, you know, smaller spirals within larger spirals?
So like a set of Russian nesting dolls, but with spirals of time.
That's a great way to visualize it. And if that's the case, then even though the Omniverse is always expanding and branching out, there might be points where timelines actually converge or even loop back on themselves.
Okay, now that is truly mind-bending. But if timelines can loop back, does that mean time travel might actually be possible? Could we, you know, travel back to the beginning of the universe?
Yeah.
To that center of time?
Well, the paper doesn't specifically talk about time travel, but it definitely makes you think about like the nature of time itself and causality. If timelines can intersect or loop, it challenges our whole linear understanding of time. It opens up a whole world of possibilities.
It definitely does. But let's try to bring this back down to earth a bit. If we take this idea of a dimension of wisdom and these diverging timelines, what does it mean for our everyday lives? How can we use these ideas to make better choices, to live more meaningful lives?
I think the big takeaway is that everything is connected. This Omniverse theory, it's telling us that we're all part of this giant web of relationships. Our choices, our actions, they ripple outwards, affecting the entire tapestry of existence.
So our choices matter, not just for us, but for the whole Omniverse.
Exactly. It really makes you think about the impact of your actions, not just in the moment, but on a much larger scale. If every choice creates a new timeline, or at least influences existing timelines, then we have a responsibility to make choices that contribute to, well, to harmony, to understanding, to the overall well-being of the Omniverse.
But how do we know which choices are the right choices? There are so many different viewpoints, so many different values and beliefs out there. How can we navigate all that complexity and make choices that are truly aligned with wisdom?
It's a tough question. I don't think there's a simple answer, but I think that wisdom dimension we've been talking about, it can offer some guidance. If we can understand ourselves better, you know, our connection to the source, to everything around us, then we can start to make choices that are more aligned with that universal wisdom.
So it's not about following a set of rules. It's about cultivating awareness, compassion, and a deep respect for everything.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're all part of this incredible journey and that each of us has a unique role to play in how the Omniverse unfolds.
That's a beautiful thought, and I think it really speaks to the power of these theories. They challenge us to question what we think we know, to expand our understanding of reality, and to ultimately live more meaningful lives.
I couldn't agree more. These concepts, even if they're still just theoretical, they give us a glimpse into a reality that's so vast and awe-inspiring, it's almost beyond imagination.
Well, folks, we've come to the end of our deep dive for today. But the conversation doesn't end here. We encourage you to check out the source material for yourselves, delve into these incredible ideas, and share your own thoughts and insights. Who knows, maybe your explorations will lead to even more groundbreaking discoveries about the nature of reality and our place in this incredible tapestry of existence. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep reaching for a deeper understanding of the Omniverse and all its wonders.